The year 2022, at least in my opinion, will be unlike any other. As a real estate investor or potential investor, I'm going to go through everything you should not do, since doing so will land you in big trouble. So, let's get started on how to invest in real estate passively. Hello everyone, welcome to Wealthy Wisdom. In this video, we're going to talk about warnings on how to invest in real estate passively that you must know. If you're new to this channel, do like and subscribe to the channel. The real estate market has had many turbulent years over the years, and I would say that each one is unique and has its own set of challenges. Inflation is at an all-time high, and interest rates are increasing and rising quickly. The real estate market, which has undergone many years of totally crazy expansion, has likewise hit a record high. You should be concerned because the average is 3 to 5%, and we've seen up to 20 in various places. Furthermore, strange things are occurring all throughout the world, even here in the United States, making this year quite unusual. Let's get started if you want to know how to invest all of your hard-earned money in real estate. First, don't buy real estate at the same cap rate you would have had 4, 5, or 6 months ago. Here's why. When interest rates are historically low, purchasing at below average cap rates is conceivable. Yet, if you're utilizing leverage, a cap rate that was previously favorable is no longer attractive when interest rates begin to climb. Even though the market is now growing and has been for the last year, the fact that interest rates are rising so fast must be considered. Unfortunately, many individuals regard a property's cap rate as due to low mortgage rates. You may have been able to acquire an 8 cap house a year ago, but this is no longer a possibility. As a result, if you're thinking about how to invest in real estate passively, be sure to verify the cash-on-cash return and make sure it's where it needs to be before making a commitment to a property. Second, avoid excessive leverage. I can tell you that overextending yourself will make you regret it in a few years. This implies you shouldn't spend a lot of money, get into debt, utilize a lot of leverage, or fail to save adequate reserves. At this point in my life, I'm doing this and urging individuals to put aside at least a year's worth of reserves for all of their personal and business requirements, including any payments linked to property loans. In this way, you are adequately shielded against leverage. This suggests that you will purchase real estate without sufficient reserves, which will put you in significant trouble if things go wrong. Another thing to keep in mind while avoiding overextending yourself is to ensure that whatever leverage you do take on is not poor debt. You must take all reasonable measures to secure a 30-year fix, or at the very least, a 10-year fix on your debts. Unless you already own a lot of real estate, you can hedge your bets by taking out some of those short-term loans, but even in that case, I would advise against taking out any kind of ARM loan because, in my prediction or guess, interest rates will still be higher even 5 years from now than they are now, or higher than they were 2 or 3 years ago. Even if rates fall, you can always refinance. But depending on how the market responds today, if rates increase and stay high, forcing you to accept a higher interest rate in 5 years, that might be problematic. Third, don't put your faith in anybody right now, especially realtors and loan officers, since they may be playing on your fear and urging you to make a purchase to fill their own pockets. You want to make sure you're making an educated decision and are knowledgeable about the market. They are motivated to influence your spending decisions because they have a financial interest in them. Be wary of remarks such as, "This property will be worth this much in the future, you should purchase it," or, "Hey, do a 5-year term, it's absolutely worth it," since you'll be able to get a better rate right now and make sure your calculations to buy the property. Don't fall for someone who is attempting to persuade you to go crazy buy so they can pad their pockets. You can refinance later since you don't know how long it will take to refinance where those numbers make sense. Fourth, don't expect quick growth. Throughout the preceding 5 years, despite the assumption that many people are lucky in this market, the reality is that we've had totally insane appreciation year after year after year for as long as we have. It's rather strange. It's ridiculous how big it's become. A 50% to 20% increase Even with the way interest rates are climbing, it is ludicrous and cannot continue. We cannot depend on the market to continue increasing at unsustainable rates to compensate for bad investments. Because the last several years have been crazy, many of the people I've met have really pushed their numbers. These are the properties I should have bought last year, but I didn't since the figures didn't appear great at the time, even if they do now. That is no longer an acceptable method of purchasing real estate. You may do so if you plan to disregard it for the next 30 years. However, I guarantee you that in 30 years, I will care. However, you cannot buy with it as your primary reason for buying. And many people have justified inferior purchases in recent years, so let's hope that as long as things continue as they have, you will always be spared by the fact that those properties will ultimately improve in value. They've been rescued by illogical inflation and irrational appreciation, and I can tell you right now that purchasing them now is a bad idea. The only thing that can save you from a bad deal is to wager on inflation. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Let's continue to talk about on how to invest in real estate passively. Fifth, pay off real estate. The one I want to emphasize is the following because, despite what your instincts tell you, you should not do it. Let me give you an example. I've had a fantastic year, but this market is making me nervous, so I suppose I'll pay off a couple of my homes. Says a man who owns $20 million in real estate. This is, in my view, the worst thing you could do, and here's why. He's someone who has been buying properties at 3 to 4% interest rates, possibly lower on some of those deals if you really crushed it. So paying down that debt means that if interest rates continue to rise, your money is just sitting in a bank or putting it in very liquid places where it's locked up for 3 to 6 months and very well protected. So you can get close to that in interest on your money and have it way more liquid and not be tied down. If you now possess properties with good debt, long-term debt, and low interest rates, don't pay them off since you'll have to refinance at much higher rates if you need the money. As a consequence, please keep that money in cash so that you may take advantage of opportunities now and in the future. In this manner, you won't have to remove it from a house with bad debt. Alternatively, find a place where you may earn a little safe return, whether you bargain with your bank or find another source. I just negotiated really favorable interest rates with my bank. And if interest rates rise now for particular products I've planned, the bank will pay me. I must keep that money safe from a minimum of 3 months and a maximum of 6 months. I'm okay with keeping some of my money locked up as long as it's a highly safe investment with a bank and I'm gaining from getting some money back in return. I'm paying down some of my real estate in order to lower my interest expenses. Paying off a property and eliminating a payment will not benefit you as much as having that money in the bank to take advantage of opportunities or to use to be able to pay those payments in the future if things go south and you need those reserves because something strange happens with rents coming in or anything else that could potentially happen in the future. So please make sure you have a healthy reserve fund and don't do anything stupid like pay off a property. Sixth, avoid making emotional decisions while purchasing a home or an investment property. I'm telling you, this is one of the worst times in history to make a terrible investment. If you have large piles of cash and aren't afraid since you have reserves atop reserves, then go ahead and overpay for a house. What does it make a difference? However, YOLOing on a terrible investment property right now does not make sense. If you're going to buy an investment property, make sure it's a good deal with acceptable interest rates and don't get carried away. We'll go straight to my last point, which is maybe the most important. There are still fantastic deals available today that are perhaps even better than they were 6 months or a year ago. That is because there are numerous extremes which leads to a significant degree of worry, which leads to a large number of people wanting to sell. People approaching retirement are thinking, wow, the market has hit its high. I would sell at a discount to take advantage of the equity in the property and to put myself in a better position because I meant to sell. They are ready to sell now that the market has risen so dramatically. You're ready to buy and you may be able to take advantage of a great deal. That's fantastic news for the two of you. As a result, I am now pressuring everyone to take advantage of off-market discounts. I haven't observed a drop in the market for multifamily or even single-family homes yet. Despite increasing interest rates, I've seen that they've stayed relatively steady. I'm aware that many people are concerned about this when utilizing the MLS. When you send out a mailer and receive an off-market deal from someone who is forced to sell because they need to cash out and they hear interest rates are increasing but aren't paying attention to the market, you may benefit from their fear. If they do not use a realtor, you may find a great win-win scenario for the two of you. Even if there are many things you should avoid, one thing you should always do is acquire real estate investment at a low price, since it is what is best for you and your family in the long term. We've reached the end of another video, and thank you for watching. I hope you have learned how to invest in real estate passively. If you like this video, do give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. Thank you and goodbye.